survival egress can sound far-fetched to anyone who's never had to evacuate before. In recent weeks, our village has had to evacuate due to fire, and it makes bugging out a reality very quickly. And it's for just such a scenario as this that you need a crew, a network of people who you're willing to bug out with and who can help you out when it hits the fan. Since the fire, a whole lot of us have sat down and had some serious conversations about the things that we can do better in future to ensure that evacuation runs smoothly and that everybody gets out safely. Some people lost their homes in the fire. So in this video, I'm going to share some tips that we've all come up with as a community that you can use to ensure that your community evacuates more safely in case of survival egress. I'm Clarice. Welcome to the Live Ready channel. To start with, I just want to give a special thanks to everybody who's contributed to the making of this video. The community, the Huncliffe Hotel, Preparedness shop, who has supplied us with post-apocalyptic gear, and everybody who's brought along a camera, and it is absolutely an honor to be part of this community. Wreak havoc.
Found the real one. We found the smoke bomb in Rotterdam.
Well, we're gonna launch it just now. So here's the reality of what happens. There's a big fire. The crew who gets called out to go and fight the fire are the guys who have no time to pack up their houses, and they have no time to evacuate either. And even some of the firefighters' houses burned down in the fire. And that's how busy they were trying to save the village as a whole, which really shows their dedication to the cause. So we've had a whole lot of fun with this today, maybe even a little too much fun, and the landscape certainly lends itself to a post-apocalyptic scene. But there is an important message here. There is wisdom in preparedness. There's good reason to do some forward thinking and to plan in advance. You may have to evacuate due to some other reason. Maybe it's a flood, maybe it's a fire, maybe it's civil unrest, but it's good to think ahead of time and to discuss this sort of situation with your family or the people that you live with or your neighbors and your community, so that you have a good idea of what needs to happen if you need to leave your home at a moment's notice. So for a start, a good idea is to have a network of people who you can call on and have a comms system set up. Because what happens in the fire is it burns through, I'm using fire as an example now, but it burns through like cables and wires, it burns down cell phone towers, and so comms goes down. Water pipes get burned through, and we are now a couple weeks past the fire and some people still don't have water and electricity because the fire actually takes out all of those pipes and lines. In a community of people, different people have different skills and resources, and your skills are a commodity just as much as your resources are. Try to prepare on behalf of other people as well. Soon before long, you might find yourself in a similar situation where you need to ask someone else for help because you're short of some of the other resource that you didn't think of preparing for. So a sense of community is really important, because during that time, if you're busy firefighting, you can't rely on your neighbor to evacuate your home, because your neighbor is so busy packing up their own stuff, getting their dogs and their kids and everyone into their car and leaving their own home. There's no way that they're going to manage to evacuate your home as well. So you need to have someone who's literally on the other side of town who you can call and go, okay, the fire is close to my house. I actually can't go and evacuate it myself. Can you help me? So this is something that we came up with as a system post-fire, is that we have a network of people who evacuate on behalf of one another. Now this is really important if you've got animals or you've got kids or you've got important documents and things. And these people actually need to know what to evacuate and what to take from your home. What are the things that are really important to you? To give you an idea, if the wind is blowing at 60 kilometers an hour and the fire is 10 kilometers away from you, you've got 10 minutes to get out of its way. As long as there isn't a dam or a lake or a big mountain or something that's going to hinder it and going to slow it down, because obviously the kinds of vegetation and stuff that's in there is also important, and it also makes a difference to how quickly fire travels. But to give you an idea, that's how quickly a fire moves. 60 kilometers an hour, 10 kilometers away, you've got 10 minutes to evacuate.
My friends are okay. I was legitimately worried about you guys. I really was.
We also worry about ourselves sometimes.
If you've watched some of the other videos on this channel, you'll also know that I really advocate for packing a bug out bag. Have one bag that you've got all of your essential documents, things like your passports and your ID documents, medical documents, all of that stuff in one place. So that even if you are able to evacuate by yourself, you have one bag that you can grab and go. I've evacuated due to fire before, and I can tell you, you don't always have warning. So if you've already got a bag packed, that you've got a decent pair of clothing or a decent set of clothing, a decent pair of shoes, which is really important in firefighting because you end up running through embers, your important documents, a little bit of food, and maybe some things, essentials that you might need, maybe a wash bag or something like that. You may just have to leave your home for a period of time and then you can come back later, but you don't know how long that period of time is going to be. In my opinion, probably one of the most important parts of disaster preparedness is mobility. There's a good reason why I'm set up to live out of my vehicle indefinitely. Even some of the fire trucks have gotten stuck in the deep sand during the firefighting, and it may come to the point where you need to recover someone or you need to support someone out of the resources that's in your vehicle. So try and set yourself up to be mobile as well. Now, I've thanked everyone else for helping with this video, but I must say special thanks to the firefighters who really have put in their heart and soul in ensuring that the village is still standing today. And really, you build such a sense of community in doing something like this. No, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't. You can never have too much fun. Where did you get that? What is it? So I work an hour and a half away from home. I was in the operating theatre and I got a phone call, actually got 2 phone calls in the space of 5 minutes saying, Clarice, the fire is here. We've got to evacuate. You've got to come back and fetch your stuff. So in the end, you end up worrying so much about what's happening at home. So it gives you a bit of peace of mind knowing that there is someone in the community you can go and call and say, listen, are you home? Are you free? Can you go and pack my stuff? I'm on my way home. Just so that if you don't make it back on time, at least your kids or your animals or whatever get out. As a couple of neighbors, we had a few meetings. So eventually every night, because we were watching this fire, it was a couple hundred meters away from us. And you can see the fire, but the firefighters are just managing to keep it at bay. So we'd sit down with the neighbors and we'd go, okay, this is what's happening tomorrow. I need to leave home for a period of time. I'm leaving this and that. This is where you will find my cat. There's a note on the dining room table that says, evacuate cat first, that's priority number 1. Grab this or whatever bag second. It's standing right by the note on the table. And if you can grab anything else, grab this or that. And I ended up driving around with most of my stuff in my car for 3 or 4 days because you just don't know when the fire is going to get to you. And there were a couple of people who had to evacuate multiple times just because the fire got so close to their homes. They'd be evacuated and then they can come back. And that's the reality of it. You can always come back. So rather be ready to leave at a moment's notice and have everything ready and set up. Leave if you need to. You can always come back. If you've liked this video, remember to hit like and subscribe. Remember to follow me on social media. Hit follow on Instagram. I post a bit more of the everyday live ready stuff on there. There's some stuff on the fire on there as well if you want to go and check it out. And until the next time, live ready.